Hi everybody, Rob Keys here, and I'm about to fire up the PlayStation 5. I installed the firmware update yesterday, so now it's ready to go. We're not going to waste any time. We're just going to fire it up so you can see the speed at which it takes to boot up, and then we'll go through the menu so you can see how this compares to the PS4. So the first thing we'll do is hit the new PlayStation shaped logo on the DualSense controller. You hear the beep. One quick note while this loads up, you can see that, well, you can't see it, but you see a bit of the glow here. The blue lights surround the outside underneath the plate. It actually looks kind of neat when it's turning on. Same coloring codes as you get in the PS4, just in different placement because the PS5 is a very unique looking platform. So that's me. Jump right in. One thing to note, if you are going to plug in your PS5 and into a capture card, you must first connect it to a TV and disable the enable HDCP. It does have that same HDMI security that PS4 has. So here we are. This is the main interface. It's sort of a splashier version of what we got in the PS4. You see the horizontal bar of buttons is moved to the top, and to get to the menu, like system settings, you go up, and then you have to go all the way over here. Settings. So here's what you see. I'm gonna move this over to the right. There we go, so I'm not blocking it. Okay, so this should look very familiar to anyone who has a PS4, right? User guide, accessibility options. Here we go. We can invert the colors, change some text, change the scrolling, change motion blur. You can customize your buttons, add closed captions, transcribe chat, network options. Exactly what you'd expect here. You can run a test as well. You can change the settings as well if you want to connect to a different Wi-Fi network. Users and accounts, this just shows who's connected. Right now it's just me. You can connect it to some of your services. So if you want to take advantage of the share, or what they call the create button on the DualSense controller, you can connect it directly to Twitch. You'll notice there's no Mixer, RIP Mixer, but also no Facebook gaming. So built in, you got Twitch. You can use YouTube for clips and such, and you can have it tweet out clips or screenshots the same way you could with the PS4. The one difference here is Spotify. Spotify's built into both this and the Xbox Series X, which is interesting. So there you go. Some settings there if you want to log in automatically. Add a bunch of users. Same setup, parental controls as you had in PS4. Not going to waste any time there. System settings. Okay, a couple of things here. First, again, if you want to use a capture card, I'm using an Elgato HD60 Pro. There's the 4K version of that as well. But any capture card, you must go here, HDMI, and uncheck enable HDCP. Otherwise, for security reasons, anti-piracy reasons, really, it just blocks the signal entirely. Exactly the same way the PS4 did. So just go in here. You won't be able to see the screen, so you have to plug into a TV first. That was a real pain because the first thing I tried to do is get it to work through my capture card on the PC, so I could capture some footage, some first impressions. I had to disconnect it all, manually shut it down, bring it back down to the TV, turn it on, disable this, bring it back up. It's a real pain. But once you have it set, you're set. It will, of course, block certain things like the signal. If you're trying to watch a Blu-ray for security reasons, that's where this will kick in, and it'll block that signal, right? So. Language settings, you can set your default. You set all this up when you're doing the initial setup anyways. And one cool thing too, when you're doing the initial setup and going through all the welcome messages and options, it lets you put in a disk and install a game or any software in the background while you're doing the setup, which is a nice, great time saver. And then as part of the welcome package as well, it auto installs Disney Plus, Amazon, Netflix, Spotify for you. Not Amazon, but definitely Disney Plus, Netflix, maybe YouTube. A couple of core apps, like it gave you 4 right off the bat, and you can choose to have them installed right away while you're doing setup as well, which was really handy, especially since the time I'm recording this, The Mandalorian Season 2 drops tonight at midnight, so very exciting. Again, regular standard date stuff. You can set up remote play here. Same power saving options you're used to the PS4. You got some basic web browser options. I've not tested the web browser yet. Storage options, you can see where you're at. As you can see, and this is kind of alarming, I have 0 games installed, right? I just turned it on. I installed the 1 gig firmware update via USB for this review console, and look at that. We only have 2/3 of the storage available. We have 660 gigs, so 2/3 of a terabyte, which basically boils down to I can install 2 Call of Duties and maybe 2 PS4 games. that's it. You're capped out. So choose wisely. The storage, while they are very fast SSD hard drives in both next-gen consoles. I have the Xbox Series X over here, by the way. The space is extremely limiting. And since cloud gaming is not fully here, we are stuck with this. And you're going to have to take advantage of some third-party accessories, I think. Of course, they have the Seagate drive, which there's a special port in the back of the Xbox Series X. You can just plug in a 1 terabyte drive there for extra storage. For this, you're going to have to do something a little different. But still, I think one of the biggest hurdles for the next-gen consoles is the lack of space. It's not keeping up or expanding with the next-gen games. We're like 10 years behind on storage options. Again, speed, great. Actual storage, big problem. So that's where you can see, look, 640 for games and apps. That's just apps. I've not added any apps except for what came with it. So it comes with the Astrobot. Sort of, it's a game, but it's a tech demo to show you what the DualSense can do. And we know the new haptic feedback triggers and such. But I've installed nothing. I've added literally nothing except what it gave me I'd install. So big red flag on storage. Sound options. Here is another thing I want to call out. So we talked about the HDCP as one thing to be aware of right away. The other big thing is this. This, unfortunately, the PS5 does not solve one of the biggest frustrations I had with the PS4, and that's audio output. Look, by default, if you do not have a headset plugged in wirelessly or through the 3.5mm jack on the bottom of the DualSense controller, it's connected through TV sound. You're listening through your speakers, right? I do have a Pulse 3D headset up here. I've not tested it yet, but I will review that as well for ScreenRant.com. But again, so your sound is going through your TV as per normal. The moment you plug in, and we can test it right now. I have an Astro A40 right here. I'm plugging it in. Watch what happens. Boom. Headphones connected to controller. Great. You can turn that off so it doesn't automatically switch over. So even if you plug this in, the sound will still come through the TV. Now, if I want to change it, let's go to output device. I want to listen to it in the TV, or in this case, through my stream, through a capture card, and I want to listen to it on my headset so I can talk to my friends. Well, let's try to do that. Oh no, I can't. I'm still stuck with the option one or the other, but not both. This is infuriating, and I really pray that down the road, they will do a firmware update. I'm unplugging this. It'll default back, which is nice. So it's immediately responsive, which is great, but epic fail by Sony to not support or give me any option to have the audio go out through HDMI and through a headset. That means if I want to stream, I can't use a headset with my controller. I cannot talk to my friends through PSN. Isn't that wild? Same thing with the PS4. On the Xbox One, you can choose to have the audio go out through the headset or the TV or send it out through both. You cannot do that with the PS4 or PS5. I have not tested it with the Xbox Series X, but I assume it's the same as the Xbox One. Epic fail. That there's no option for that. You can change your HDMI type here, depending where you want the sound to go. Infuriating. So just like the PS4, you're gonna have to work around that as well using your own audio solution. You control the volume here. Screen and video. Here's where you can get into your more advanced. If you here, I'm gonna move the camera back, but you can play with your HDR options and the resolution and such. So if you have a high-end TV, I hope you do. If you're trying to spend money on a next-gen console, this is where you can start getting granular with some of the next-gen stuff. Well, a lot of the stuff is in the PS4 Pro as well. But here you go. You can turn on or off the internet connection for some of the special Blu-ray features on certain Blu-rays. So all pretty standard stuff. Let's move the camera back. Accessories. This will show you your status. Oh, hey, you can control. That's good. I haven't checked this yet. So the DualSense controller, just like the DualShock 4, there is a built-in microphone and a little speaker in there. So some games will take advantage of that. That's not a standard across all the platforms. Like that's not part of what you get on the Xbox One wireless controller, Xbox Series X wireless controller. So this is something first-party games and exclusives may take advantage of. Same with the haptic triggers. These are not normal things, even though they're pretty impressive. A lot of games probably won't opt to use them unless they're like the big Sony exclusives. So you got some effects here. I think you changed the light bar, brightness of controller indicators. Oh, interesting. Oh, another feature too. On the controller, sorry, wrong camera. There's a little button at the bottom they added, which is a mute button. So you can mute the microphone in the controller just with the touch of that button. Here, I'll do it right now. See, it's lit up. Hit it again, it turns off. That's one of the big changes too. The light bar, of course, has changed as well. The light bar kind of curves around the side. There's a slight glow coming from the middle. Whereas when you use the PS4 DualShock, you had the big kind of colorful glow at the back. They really streamed that down and made it much more simple. Media remote. I will test. I'm getting a media remote on launch day. None of the apps are working pre-launch, unfortunately, so I can't test it anyways. But I will be getting the official PS5 media remote on launch day. So sometime after launch, I will do a review or a feature on that for ScreenRant.com as well. But basically, it lets you navigate the menus with a remote control like you can on the TV. Xbox. For the Xbox Series X, PDP is making one. PDP does an amazing job with those accessories. They made a wonderful Xbox One remote and a great PS4 remote as well. It's highly recommend that as a third-party option. I don't know if they have one for PS5, but they certainly do for the Xbox Series X. But with Sony, I'm going with the official one. This is great too. You can change your keyboard options. Another cool thing with the keyboard, and I apologize for rambling, but during the setup process, when you're putting in your login details and typing in text, it's cool because you can do it the old school way where you move a cursor around the screen, hit the buttons, or the way I do it, just using the not D-pad, but the arrows, your directional buttons, just to kind of choose your letters. While you're doing that though, you have both options. You can use your right stick to move the keyboard around the screen. So if it's like on the corner of the screen or somewhere obscuring the view of something else, you can kind of move it while you're typing. So it's very friendly and it's very snappy. Like the menu is just instant. It's like, I know this felt good on the PS4, but it just feels like instant reaction speed to everything I do in the PS5 interface. I'm very happy with this. So it's a mixture of like modern or new, but it's still very, very, very PlayStation. Even this controller, I'm gonna show you a little cool detail. It's hard to see, but there's a much more richer texture on the bottom of this controller. And if you had a camera and could zoom in really well, all those little grippy, tiny little bits are tiny little PlayStation symbols, like triangle, the X, the circle, the square, a million of them, or thousands, maybe not a million. Also, there's an official new camera you can get, the webcam sort of thing for the PS5, which I'm sure will play a big role whenever we get a new PlayStation 5 VR unit at some point, no doubt. But also, you can use that camera if you're using the create button and you want to stream to Twitch directly. You can have the camera on screen as well. I've not tested that yet either because it's pre-launch, but I will try streaming directly from the console while plugged in via Ethernet and over wireless to see how it connects. The other thing I'm going to try very shortly after I make this video is testing, and this is critically important given what we just talked about with hard drive space, but testing the download speed. The PS4 had notoriously bad download speeds. It was awful. Like compared to like Steam and Epic Game Store on PC, it's just light years difference. I can't even imagine trying to download Call of Duty Modern Warfare 200 plus gigs. It would take a day, even at my extremely fast internet. So that's a big thing for me in the next gen consoles, given like the constant need for bandwidth, and given the limited hard drive space, you may find yourself forced to remove games and add games on the regular to rotate them in and out just to keep space on the hard drive. So the download speed is absolutely crucial. I will do a direct comparison. I'll download Miles Morales or something, or Watch Dogs Legion, one of these new games that's on both platforms, and we'll compare the download speed, like average speed and total download time for the PS4 and the PS5, so you can see if there is a market difference. So stay tuned for that. Notifications, again, these are similar options, previews and pop-ups while you're playing and such. There's all sorts of privacy settings. I'm like kind of locked down right now because I'm not supposed to show people what I'm doing online with the PS5 since it's 2 weeks before launch. You can also control what you're doing here with your shares in the create option. There you go. You can chat to speech. That's a good option too, especially if you're getting into streaming VR and stuff. You can have the chat pop up, so it's kind of neat. So, but again, a lot of the stuff extremely familiar if you're a PS4 fan. So that's it for the settings. This is what the interface looks like. If you want to take a quick peek at the store before we go, before I do that, this Astro's Playroom is the one kind of pack-in game, so to speak. Again, it's a tech demo for what you can do with DualSense. And by the way, this controller, super impressive. But that's not what this video is about. You can read more about the DualSense on ScreenRant. That's PS Plus. I do have that. Let's go to the PS Store. One note, and again, this is pre-launch. When I went to the store, I looked at the free games of the month with PS Plus. It was giving me problems, even though I had PS Plus. We can try it right now. It wouldn't. It was trying to make me buy the free games. You know what I'm saying? So let's go look at that. New games, see more. So I like how they're marking it properly. That's another thing to do. when you look at your library of games, it shows you with now symbols like which one is PS4, which one's PS5, and which one is a PS Plus game, so you know it's a little more identifiable. Oh, also, I guess they're marking them as VR too. I haven't noticed that yet. Okay, new games featured coming soon. Oh, Dirt 5 is gonna look great on these new consoles. Oh, Valhalla is gonna look great on these new consoles. I have Bugsnax. I've not installed it yet. It is not graphically intensive though. It looks pretty dated. Here we go. PS Plus, the PS Plus collection. Well, let's see what that does. Exclusive PS Plus. So that's a collection of a bunch of games. It's sort of like a minor subscription service to a bunch of select PS games. It's a mild way to compete with Xbox Game Pass, but not really the same thing. So here we go. See, these are the free games available right now. This is launching. Bugsnax is launching with PS5. So if you have a PS5, it's a free PS Plus game. I do not believe that's the case on PS4. Okay, here we go. Shadow of War. Oh, it's already in cart. Okay. Maybe it fixed it. I did input a new code for PS Plus at the same time I was online doing this, so maybe it just didn't work right the first time. See? $19.99. Let's click it. Sign up for PlayStation Now. Let's move the camera over here. I can't actually see it. Oh, here we go. Skip. See? It's trying to make me buy. Both games are free PS Plus games, right? I don't want to buy them. Let's move the camera back. Very interesting. Whoops, Hollow Knight. Does it give me a date, maybe? Included with PS Plus. Maybe it's not available until November. PS4 monthly game. PS4 monthly game. Release date. Doesn't say. Doesn't say when it's available. So it's missing a date of like the start and end date for when it's available for free for PS Plus users. So that's gonna have to be worked out. It's very unclear like how I just redeem PS Plus games. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, let's go to the main store. We're in it now. Okay, so here's what it looks like. Got collections of games. There'll be lots of features and sponsored stuff here, I'm sure. Top recommended games, PlayStation exclusives. Miles Morales is the big one, which we are now playing early on PS4, by the way. We don't have the PS5 version yet. We also don't have Demon's Souls or the Little Big Planet game. We're going to get those basically the day PS5 releases to the public. Cool. Alright, so that's the collections. Subscriptions. EA Play is part of this too. You get your standard PS Plus discounts just like you did on PS4. Must play on PS Now. Another subscription service. Back to the store. Okay. Godfall is another big exclusive. I think it's coming out on PC as well, but that's coming out next month. All right, so that's kind of it. It's not showing you that much on screen at once. You only get a couple tiles. Like here, you only see 4 games really. So it's very mobile friendly. Like if you're playing this on like a 70-inch screen, I don't need tiles that are this big. You know what I mean? You can show me more on screen. More like this. This top row is more what I'm looking for. But it's fine. They're doing more with the screen than they did with the PS4. So at least it is faster, and it is a little more optimized, I would say. And then your other standard stuff. So PlayStation Now. I'm not going to subscribe to it now, but there you go. These are Canadian prices, by the way, so if it seems higher than normal, because it is. All right, that's it. Remote play you can set up as well. Use this PS5 to connect to and control another PS5 or PS4. There you go. That's cool. One way to do it. One cool thing as well is you can directly transfer your data and install games from the PS4 to PS5 during setup as well. So they're really trying to save you time. But I will say, before I sign off, if you are getting a PS5 as a gift this holiday season for a partner or your kids, like open it up and do the setup. Save your loved ones or your friends like hours of time. If you have to download a game or do the whole setup process or transfer data from the PS4, just set it up, get it connected online, get it working, and then give it to them. The worst thing you could do with these new consoles especially is just give them this thing and say, hey, here's something to work on all day. No, let them turn it on and see what it can do, right? So with that, stay tuned for more. I will upload videos of everything I do to youtube.com/failcube. I will stream it live on twitch.tv/failcube. I stream there every day in the evenings around 10 p.m. Eastern, and you'll see a whole bunch of articles and features and guides and reviews of the hardware, all the hardware, including the accessories, and all the games, PS4 and PS5 versions, on screenrent.com. Until then, see you later.